Welcome back to another session of The Raven. This is me drawing a comic book called The Raven. It's a thriller, suspense, noir-style comic. If you don't know what noir is, it's like an old detective kind of black and white. It's not a specific detective kind of comic book. It is really a serial killer comic book. And I noticed it's true, apparently, that YouTube doesn't like darker stuff. So I kind of try to keep it light, but honest about what you're getting into. I just had an idea for a comic book that I thought was kind of cool, so I wanted to try it. I used to draw comics when I was a kid, but nothing to this kind of level. So I'm trying to get this done and see if there's any interest. If you guys like it, if anybody likes it, if you think it's poo-poo, let me know. If you think it's pretty cool, let me know. So I actually was recording this whole thing, and then I didn't actually record the screenshot of me drawing, so it was just me talking to the camera. Anyway, you didn't miss much if you're interested in what I'm doing. I actually just copied this bird to here and my raven, and I just copied a straight-on shot of her, and then I just changed her expression, so you really didn't miss much in terms of drawing. But that's it. That's page 20. It's done, as you can see. The bird flies up. The raven flies up. She notices him. She gets startled because she heard what was on the news. Wasn't really paying much attention to it at first, but now she's like, okay, maybe there's some truth to this, or it's at least startling her because, I mean, to be honest, if a big giant raven flew into my window in the middle of the night, probably make me jump back too. So I was going to do the same thing with this page, page 21. What I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the raven because it's basically just going to get closer and closer to his eye. And so it shows that here. And I tried using a big image of him and it caused Clip Studio to crash. It's not a limitation on my computer. It's a Clip Studio problem because my computer has 32 gigs of RAM and 8 gigs of VRAM. And plenty enough. It's a 6-core 12 thread. There's no reason it should have crashed, except I blame Clip Studio Paint. Okay. I'm gonna grab. I think the image was just too big for Clip Studio. I think it just ate it. Okay. I'm gonna grab this guy here. I'm gonna copy him. Just him. We're gonna paste him in here. So he's this layer. Okay, and then I'm not specifically drawing anything yet because I know I'm going to make him kind of. This is not what caused it to crash. Okay, this wasn't. He didn't cause this crash. What I did here did, so I'm not going to do that again. Okay, we're going to save that. I'm going to lock it. That's why I save so frequently. I come from the old school, man, and we were just trained to. I say trained, like as kids, it was like drilled in our head, just always save all the time, control S all the time, because computers when we were growing up, they would crash a lot because there wasn't a lot of memory. So you can only run like one process at a time or one program at a time. So I know, I'm aging myself. So what I'm going to do is, okay, so get the raven here. I'm going to copy him again. Well, I'm actually going to paste him again. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy just basically his eye. And it's going to look like crap because what I've got to do is it's going to zoom way in on his eye for this next panel. So again, instead of redrawing it, I'm just going to zoom in. But I'm going to go back to it later when I go to re-ink everything. I'm going to retrace all of this stuff so it looks clean and tight. So even though I'm copying and pasting, I still have to go back and draw over top of it anyway. So it saves me a little bit of time. I don't need the ruler on. Let me unlock this. Paste them into here. I'm going to turn this off because I know it just means zoom in on the raven's eye again. It really just means to zoom way in on his eye. So let me turn that off. Okay. Oh, by the way, Death Note is probably like one of my favorite stories ever. And that's partly what kind of made me think about this kind of a thing, but also The Crow. I love The Crow. And Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven, the ominous of it. So it was kind of like a mixture of a lot of all those things together, minus the martial arts, of course. And if you know me, you know I love martial arts, and so not unlike me to put martial arts into anything. I always do. So I was trying to get away from that. I was trying to get away from... What are you talking about? Hang on. It's telling me I don't have an object selected, even though, I mean, it's whatever. No. This is not Adobe. I forget that sometimes. Okay. It's... So this is what caused it to crash last time. Let's see if it does it again. This time it's not as much. It's not as many pixels. Anyway, I love martial arts, and I mean, I was a martial artist there for a little while in my life. You know what? That's not going to work because it's not big enough. We're just going to go right around. Well, maybe like that. Wait a minute. What am I doing? Let's go back over to here. Let's copy this. Close this guy off because I was copying nothing basically. Unlock that. Paste this guy in here. Okay. There we go. I'm going to save that just in case it decides to crash on me again. And yeah, so as far as like creating, how do I say this? I always make ninja stuff. All right. So I was trying to get away from that a little bit. Like to make ninja stuff and, you know, samurai stuff. I mean, for God's sake, I have a samurai guitar that I made. And you know what? If you're watching this, you're going to have a treat because I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. This is a guitar I made. This is what I'm talking about. I always do samurai and ninja type stuff. I actually made the inlays too. These are not stickers. These are actually epoxy inlays. It was a lot of work, but totally worth it. This is it's basically an art piece now. But anyway, point is, I always do like ninjas and samurais, and I just wanted to do something different. So get away from the martial arts, get away from like, you know, the old school Japanese lore, like samurais and ninjas and stuff, and you know, no medieval stuff, no sword fighting with knights and all that kind of stuff. I didn't want to do anything like that. I wanted, and I always used to do space a lot, and everything's space. I used to have something called Space Marines when I was a kid, and I was like, I got to get away from all that. So I wanted to try something entirely different, something completely new, and one-shot it. And I don't see many people doing stuff like this, so I figured this is a cool idea for a comic, and it works, done, and no skin off my back. I'm just trying to have fun with you. Let's just have a pint, shall we? All right. So back to work. So this is huge. I'm going to actually go back through here and draw this over again. I'm not going to leave it that low res because that looks like crap. Let me get rid of this. So now, wait, let me get rid of that too. And yeah, that needs to go away as well. I don't like having unnecessary layers laying around because it'll confuse me as to why they're there. So I just don't mess with it. We're going to say that. Okay, so now we have this big eye. So in other words, I'm trying to make it seem like the fear isn't settling into her. And then I get down to this last one where the raven's going to fly off. I haven't really decided how I want to do this yet, like how you can tell he's flying off. I can do speed lines, which I thought about doing. Let me see. This might be something I need to... I wasn't sure if I was going to have his wing flap. Let me just look for a reference real fast. Yeah, see how he's... I think something like... Oh, that's really pretty. They're such beautiful animals. They're also brilliant, by the way, if you don't know that. Yeah, see, I might just use this reference here and flip them around. I always forget how to do this in here. I could probably open Adobe to there's a way to delete unnecessary pixels or to resize it based on, I don't remember how to do it in here. Well, I'm gonna have to look that up. I always forget. In Adobe, you can trim transparent pixels. I don't remember how to do it in Clip Studio Paint. Yeah, that's right. It's a crop, isn't it? Let me see. It's already a rasterized layer. So there's a cropping option, tonal correction. Yeah, it's crop Z. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay, so if you turn off the paper background, I think, no, I'm not really sure whether you can't crop Z this. Yeah, like I said, I don't know why it's doing that. Let me see. Why can't I crop Z? Oh, you know what? I realize. I know what it is. You have to select it. You have to select outside of here. Yeah. It crops whatever else isn't there. And if you invert the selection, there we go. I forgot how to do it. Now I remember. I'm just doing that so I can get rid of all that white noise. There, you learn something every day. When I flip it horizontally, say okay. And I'm just using this reference of him. I'm obviously not going to copy that, just so I know how I want his bird wings to look. But I do multiple references because I think the problem is that he's flying off. He's sort of flying straight here, and I kind of wanted him to go like from your perspective. If you're looking at this, he's kind of going that way. And I'm not sure if I like this picture for that. Okay, I'm actually going to get rid of that one and do another one. Say, okay, that doesn't matter what the resolution is because I'm only using it as a reference. We're going to invert selection, crop Z it. There we go. See, use it a couple times, I remember. Our cat just puked on top of our AC unit. That's fun. Lord have mercy. Anyway, good Lord. Okay. Oh, I don't know, man. Only in America, baby. I don't even know what's going on. All right. Let me just save this in case. Okay. So now he's going to fly off away from the window. I'm going to use this image that I see over here. I'm going to flip it and then I'm going to move it so I have it in front of me so I can actually see it. With referencing, you don't copy what you see. If you're copying what you're seeing, I mean, to be fair, it's copyright infringement, right? The other problem is, for one thing, if you copied everything you see here, it would take you a while. just let's throw that out there. All I want is, I want the basic shape of how he should look when he's flying off, what his body looks like, and that kind of thing. So I'm going to comic it up. I'm going to do it the way that I do it, you know? So I'm going to take this guy, I'm going to put him up here so I can actually see him. I'm being transparent with you. This is how I do it. Like, I don't always use references, but when I do, you know, I want to find something that doesn't exactly match what I need because that's just lazy. I think that's lazier than copying and pasting. If you take your time, you can actually pick the shapes out of the, forgetting the color, just seeing the shape of the animal for the way that it should be. It does help to understand anatomy. It does. But just, if you don't know the animal, it's fine. Just draw the shapes that you see. And if you're not certain what you're looking at, throw a little shade on it. You'd be all right. Ain't hurt nobody. So back on this layer, gonna draw this guy. So he's gonna be flying off from her window. So I can always rescale it and all that good stuff. One of the tricks to it is he's got like a cylindrical football shape almost. Like if you took a football and cut it in half, that's what he looks like. That's his body. All right, so if you start with, how big is this? That's the wrong color. Just want a decent size brush. All right, so you start with his head, right? Just a nice little doink. And then he's a cylinder. I'm showing you how to construction draw this, okay? See, there's a cylinder portion of his body, like this. It's a bit exaggerant, but it works for demonstration purposes and for what I'm doing. So we're going to get the shape of his body down first, like a bowling pin almost. That's kind of what he looks like. Now, I will say that this portion, again, I don't usually talk like this when I draw, so I'm just showing you what I do. If it's helpful to you, hopefully. So I I keep trying to look back at the reference to make sure that it looks somewhat like he looks like his beak comes down around here somewhere. He's got that sharp point to his beak at the front here. And then he's got that. This is a beautiful picture, by the way. If I could frame this, I would. If I could, actually, I'm going to go find out where this is at. I'm going to go buy it. All right. So his beak is pretty big, but they have their feathery, kind of furry almost texture coming up over the top of their beak there. And then here. And then his eye is around this area. And the bottom of his beak actually kind of goes like that. And then he does actually have some coming down off of here. See, this, it doesn't matter if you're not perfectly right the first time. You just add to it. If you want to delete some stuff, you can. Or erase it. Delete, because I'm drawing digitally, but you know what I'm saying. So if you want to do something like that for his body, and if his body's a little too long, we can fix that. Not an issue. And if his shape of his head is a little too far out, we can fix that too. So all this stuff can be adjusted. And if you're doing it on paper and not digitally, you can still adjust it. That's what an eraser is for. So just be considerate of yourself and don't be so mean. All right? Stop kicking your own ass. All right, so we're going to make it look like he's flying off of the window. And just these are gesturing. When I gesturing, I'm quick motion. I'm not trying to. Right now, I'm not worried about refining the details of his fur. Or I mean, his fur, his bird, of his feathers. I just want to get like the meat of where everything should be, like his leg coming off of here. He's got a leg coming over here. Those turkey leg kind of things, you know, coming off of here. That's where his legs basically are. And then just get the mass of his talons. You don't have to get them exactly right now. Just get the mass of it. Just get the shape. It kind of looks like that. The big shape. Don't so much force yourself to worry about the deets. All right. Just get this part close. And his leg, by the way, with this shape here. This is why, because if you don't like the way it looks, it's easier to change right now. Just get the chunkiness, get the expression right for his feet. All right, and then his chunky little fat leg goes right here. It's in here somewhere. He's got turkey legs. I mean, he's a bird. And so pull this up in here. Same thing here. So just to get the feel, get it right, and then do the same thing with his wing. His wing comes all the way down, in this picture anyway, to here. That's all you need. Just the gesture. That's his wing. You can add the feathers after the fact. And then do the same thing for his tail. And his tail comes sort of off of here. So if you get this down, the rest of it's easy. This part you can adjust easier. Again, this is just how I do it. It's my opinion. Take it or leave it. And he's got, you know, birds. I think people forget that their wings, in fact, are bone, much like our hands would be. They extend their arms out, and when they fly, so they look like they have little arms sticking out. So you out over here. I was Canadian for a second. Again, just get the mass of it. I don't know if this is useful or not, if I'm explaining myself well, but I'm doing the best I can. Now, he's also going to be in darkness, so it's not as important that I have all the detail either. But now, if you wanted to go back through here and say you want to add some darkness to his eye and that outer part of his eye, sort of like this. I'm not copying the shadowing here because this is in daylight and he's not going to be in daylight. Now, there might be some reflective light coming from her window, which means the light would be sort of indirect to him, and you'll see the underside of him. But you're not going to see all the detail of his body because, you know, it's not the middle of the day. but you can give an impression of wings if you'd like to. Just do this. So you just use that as a guide for you to put your wing, you know, that way we know where it is. And then the same thing here. It's mostly important that I have the shape of it down here because it's going to go against the black. This line up here that I was drawing, you know, how the feathers actually connect off of his bone structure isn't important because it's going to be shaded out. So, but if you were to draw this, I suppose exactly as it is, then yeah, you know, you can go through the trouble of doing that. But also, I'm not demonstrating this well, but his feathers should kind of come back this way. And just cognizance. You pay attention to what you're doing. Don't do what I do. All right, because his wings kind of are folded here. Again, it's reference, so it doesn't have to be exactly the same. But something like that. And if this is too big, and if it feels too big, or if this feels too small, or something like that, adjust it. And in this case, I think it's going to be okay because, again, I have to... This will be in the dark against, well, darkness. So his wings, as they come out, they start to get wider on the feathers. They don't connect here. And that's really more like, I might have given him one too many feathers, but that's all right. He's a big boy. But yeah, something like this. And I feel like this is a little too straight here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to redo this because I don't like the way that looks. See, I fix stuff. I don't care. I do what I want. So him coming off, he feels like it's... Let me get the shape of it right. And then this here... It's a little too down angled. I think something like that works. And yeah, we'll just... So he's starting to fly off. So what I'm going to actually do is move him. I'm just going to grab the whole thing, move him over a little bit. That way he looks like he's flying off screen. And his tail, nice big old fat feathers off his tail right here. Again, as long as it makes sense from the angle he's at, I'm good. That more or less works. And again, you're not going to see pretty much all of this, so I'm not stressing it too much. If I were making this like an exact copy, then yeah, I would go through the trouble of making sure all of his shading is right and all that good stuff. But he's going to be a really dark silhouette against a black sky, so really just the outline like he is here. He's got the whiteness under here, so his basically all you're going to see when he starts to fly off is about from... Well, I guess I could do that. I'm thinking about it. Maybe I will. I might brighten him up here so that like the lighting from the window is hitting him, and so a little bit tighter on the feathers then. And then when we come back in here, yeah, I think that'll be good. And then I just, yeah, something like this. So his feathers kind of connect into his sort of his like a, lack of better words, his arm. So if you do see him in the window, he'll be lit up like this. And I think this will be cool. Then of course he has sort of like the extra feather look to it, like a layered effect here. That's cool. And the same thing up here, just a little different of an angle. But again, he has sort of like a impression of a secondary thing of, well, winglings, his feathers. Let's go this way. So that should be okay. All right. And then he should have some more. I'm not making this photo perfect either. I'm just getting it close. And then his talons kind of come in here. Hang on. Oops. That was a big brush. His talon is here, and he's got another one here. Yeah, see, I changed my mind. This is what happens. You change your mind. You don't screw things up, man. Cool, man. Let me redo his little footy here. So I don't love the way that looks. Again, I was just doing it cut in his shape, and now I have to be a little bit more detailed on how I want to make his talons look. And pulling from his reference here. This big old fat talon, you know. There we go. That's a lot better to me. So he's got this big old fat foot here. The big old chunky thigh. Again, he's a chunky monkey, man. Yeah. Pull this off here. His body is still good. It's part of his body. And then we're just going to do a cleanup of this one too. So he has almost like human-like claws in that sense. All right. This will be quick. We're going to go like this. We're going to cut this one down. Pull this in. All right, cool. And he's got like a little rounded wrist action here. It's not a wrist, obviously, but it, for lack of better words, it kind of comes in that way. Again, I'm not going for a photorealistic effect here. I just want to get him close. I know I said this before, but I really can. I can draw super realistic if I want to. I actually really don't like to do that anymore. It doesn't feel as artsy-fartsy. The hell am I looking at? Okay, yeah. That's sort of the backside of his tail right there. I was wondering what the hell I was looking at. This is the bottom of his body here. His other leg goes up into his body there. It's way too big. This is not meant to be a how to draw a bird, but more like this is how I approach doing this. So I'm just going to use hatching on this because it's not an important detail here. That's just the bottom side of his, where his tail cuts into his body here, just to kind of give you a sense of depth. And we're going to shade out some of his leg there. And then maybe on this side, just so you get a feel for where his leg and his footy foots go. And then, so this part of his body extends out his arm. Again, for lack of better words. So this we can just kind of wing it. You get it? You're gonna wing it? And then my wife left at that stupid joke. Thank God somebody left at that. So this is entirely up to you where you decide you want to shade. I think I'm going to do around the top of his head, maybe. No. Okay, so from underneath the bottom side of his head up to here. Somewhere around here. When he flies off, his body would be facing her. Hang on. I don't love that. That part's fine. You know, this. But, yeah, you're just going to have the impression of overlapping feathers because you don't need to draw all that detail. It's just not necessary. Not for what I'm doing. I think I'm going to shade him out all the way up here. There's a big old chunky leg. Yeah. Hang on. Okay. Whoops. You save him anyway. Actually, I'm going to leave him a bit unshaded there. Yeah, let's just do this. I think that's good. I know it's scale looking, but that does a similar effect. So, yeah, that's basically him. So he's going to fly off. His beak is a little on the low side. This split of his beak, I mean. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit, and they kind of do this. Something along those lines. Yeah, that should work for now. It's always good to take a break, come back, see if you still like it. And if you do, great. If not, just fix it. I wasn't sure how much drawing I was going to do today, but gotta do some. So he's going to fly off. There you go. Give him the extra dot, make him real creepy. Yeah, so him taking off, it's pretty good. I think it works. You know, when I come back in and do with the ink, it'll make it pop really, really hard. And again, I wanted you to get a feel for how big he is. Let me pull his body back a little. I don't like it like that. His wings are definitely massive. I do think his head's a little on the small side. I know the reference shows he does look pretty close to that. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you what I see. Let's make him a little bigger. See how close we got. Let's see. The rotation's different for sure. I just want to see if his proportions are close. Don't want your fat head. It's not terribly off. I mean, obviously, he's a little... I mean, he more or less looks close to what I was going for. Okay. I just want to see if his feathers were way huge or not. Yeah, I kind of elongated him a little bit. So, I mean, I could... That might help. Let me just squash them down a little bit. I usually do that with my people if I don't love the way they looked when I draw them, but I don't usually have to do that with birds. Let me all right, that's not terrible. That's not exactly what I had in mind when I wanted to draw him, but it is what it is. He's he'll cheer do. Yeah, I mean that's I mean he looks right from the reference he does, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe after I ink him and everything, I might like him better. Sometimes, I mean, every once in a while, I draw something that I just don't love. So maybe I don't love him and I redo him, or we keep him and we move on. So he's supposed to be flapping away from the window, and he does kind of look, I guess he does look kind of small too, though. So, no, he's fine. I'll just leave it like that for now. Let me add... For the sake of argument, just so that I have this for later, I want to add a speed effect just so that I know what my intention was. Let me see if I can figure this out real quick. Yeah, that's cool for now. Again, I'm going to just sit on it and see if I like it, and if I don't, I'll come back and I'll fix it. But they can't all be winners, man. If you're enjoying this, please let me know. If you can't stand it, also let me know. You know, just tell me shut the hell up and I will. No, I won't. Shut up. Yeah, but seriously, I appreciate you watching if you are watching. And that'll be it for this one. I shall catch you on the next one.